Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie and I teach people about the Okinawan lifestyle. So today I want to talk early childhood during COVID, and I want to say a lot of things that I feel like I'm in a position to be able to say and share because I'm not currently being paid by a school district, and I want to give a voice to a lot of what teachers are feeling currently, but they just can't say because their hands are tied too. I want to share this because number one, in my 20 years in early childhood education, I spent roughly the first 10 in the classroom, being a teacher, student teaching, all of that. And the last roughly 10 have been with my own kids. I have a 7, 5, 3, and 1-year-old. The first thing I want to say is that right now, teachers are doing the best that they can. You know, they're still being paid. They still have to show that they're showing up to work and doing all these teacher duties when all they really want to do is be with their students. Any teacher will tell you that the worst thing that they dread doing is writing subplans. And this is currently like subplans on speed. It's a lot of transitioning to online. They don't really know how we're gonna keep score of grades and assignments, and the fact that a lot of people aren't showing up online. There's a lot going on for teachers right now, and they're just following through with their orders and providing assignments and the support to the best of their ability online. So they are kind of feeding you because they're being fed themselves. We're all trying to figure this out together. It's not because they want to make you miserable or make you appreciate them, or because they are even necessarily so passionately believing that these worksheets or online assignments are going to work. I think a lot of teachers will tell you this is the time of the year, if you're on the American school system, where we're at the end of the year, where there's a lot of repetition, a lot of reteaching for students who are struggling. And if you're talking about the early childhood years, you know, kindergarten is a explosive age of learning and a lot of curriculum to cover. First grade is a little bit building upon that. Second grade is really just a repetition of first. So these early years, I'm very much oversimplifying, but these early years, there's a lot of room to make up for it. Of course, as an early childhood special educator, I'm passionate about early intervention. However, what I'm saying is, for the average family, we are not talking about a huge loss towards the end of the year. And to be honest, if we were in a pandemic and teachers were still having to teach, do you know what a lot of them would be doing? The exact same thing that you're doing. They would be trying to panic solve administrative issues, and probably putting on a lot of videos that pertain to their subject knowledge and the areas in that grade. But the reality is that they would be panicking and doing exactly what you're doing. This is not a time that anybody can be expected to be the best version of themselves. Number two, for years now, myself and many other teachers for decades have been advocating for the fact that we are losing more of the important basic skills of early childhood and getting along with people because we are being pushed younger and younger to do more assessments and to be constantly monitoring progress when it's really hard to make progress when you're spending so much time monitoring it. For example, my first couple of years of teaching, I had half-day kindergarten. I had roughly 25 to 30 kids in both classes. So I would have 60 report cards, 60 parent-teacher conferences, not to mention assessing every child on every letter recognition, uppercase, lowercase, sounds, whatnot. So the amount of learning that is actually taking place in many early childhood classrooms these days is not what a lot of us teachers want to be doing. But we are just required to show up and say, this is what this child needs and wants, totally disregarding often their home life or some of the other skills that are more relevant in my opinion and in many other opinions. I mean, what I'm sharing today is not new. It's been said by many people in many different ways, but I just wanted to be another voice. And number three, now I'm on the other side of it, right? Now I'm a mom at home and I have a first grader. And I try not to talk too much about each one of my kids' personalities and what we're going through at the time because, you know, this is gonna be forever in history. So I wanna keep it short to the fact that my first grader is really self-motivated. He can follow through with directions unprompted. He's kind of very typically the firstborn, a people pleaser, really, you know, driven. And he is not loving the academic situation right now. He doesn't love me telling him what to do. He doesn't want to video chat with his class. Even though, you know, he loves school, he enjoys school, he loves learning. He's doing plenty of learning that isn't necessarily taking place on the worksheets or the assignments that are coming home and being assigned. However, he is learning in all the ways that matter most to us, and that's why I am so passionate about my work and my business and the curriculum and structure that I've created and that I share with parents, because These are things that are not being taught in schools anymore that we want to be teaching. And so you now have this opportunity to do all the groundwork that we as teachers want you to be doing. You know, so much of my mothering comes from the notes that I was taking over the 15 years of early childhood that I spent, as far as what do I want my future kindergartners to come in knowing? What was really convenient for me when I had 3-year-olds repeating in the classroom or coming in already knowing? You know, there are a lot of things that have nothing to do with ABCs that you get this time to focus on that we don't get at school anymore. So pay attention. Your child's mental health should be number one right now. Your mental health should be number one right now. And if you're not in a position to be the best teacher for your child that day, don't do it. I don't think any teacher is going to say, well, I assigned this to you and I don't care if it happens kicking, screaming, and everybody, you know, goes to bed angry and hungry or whatever. Take it easy, take it slow. This pandemic is gonna be over, but your relationship, this is a time to really at least handle it with kid gloves, you know. And I think I have another video about the fact that conscious parenting does not necessarily mean being the most Mary Poppins parent and attentive every hour of the day. I think that that is something that I would love to see more parents focus on, is not having to be the rescuer for your child or having to entertain your child. I think many teachers would agree right now that if it comes between finishing a worksheet or teaching your child how to calm their emotions and calm that anxiety that they might be feeling, we're gonna go with the mental health piece. You know, everything else can be made up, but your child's inner monologue and how they cope with stress and the uncertainty of this time is going to depend a lot on you. And so, not to add to the pressure, I'm hoping to alleviate the pressure by saying, don't worry about the academics and the school stuff. I was really inspired to make this video when I saw in a little private teacher group that I'm in on Facebook that a parent had said, I'm really concerned because my 3-year-old doesn't love her Zoom preschool meetings. And it kind of took my breath away. I'm very passionate. I have strong beliefs about what that even is about. But then when I read the comments, I was like, okay, you know, because all these teachers are saying the same thing. There's nothing that's going to happen in a Zoom meeting for your 3-year-old that you can't meet in 5 minutes of cooking with them or in 10 minutes of putting them to bed. I'm not talking about a lot of time. It's just about a conscious effort to dedicate, even if you only have 5 minutes. Trust me, I have 4 children, very little. I love them all. Early childhood is my passion. However, number one, I don't have the bandwidth to be the best parent all the time. And number two, I have to know my limitations. I can't take 4 children to do half of the things that I was able to do with a 1 or with 2, and so on. So we all have to be kind and gentle to ourselves during this time. I would not add academic pressure to your list of preschool things to worry about. We are so lucky in early childhood. The gap, yes, it doesn't, you know, you don't want the gap to be wide when it comes to special education, but you definitely have lots of time to just spend this time connecting with your child. Don't worry about the ABCs. I hope this put some of your fears to rest. You know, I spent a lot of my time working with children from lower income families, and having grown up in third world countries, I am so passionate about the fact that you don't need very much to be a good parent. It can be something that happens in your backyard, in your bathroom, with very little tools. You don't have to order a craft set online or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with how attentive you are when you do have the little time you have together, and how much you take care of yourself so that you can be the best parent for your child.